Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff Crane. We are at the Tokenize BitAngels blockchain event here in Las Vegas, 2025.
Yeah, here at the Tyson Estate.
That's right.
Yeah.
We are. Where tigers were roaming around at once.
That's
time.
so cool. I wish they were today. That'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be super awesome.
I just want a little warning. If you,
Yeah,
you know what we
me
do?
too.
Here's what we do. So first of all, we're jumping right in.
Right.
Daven.
Yep.
I love the name.
Thanks.
1 in a million.
Yeah.
1 in a billion.
I
don't
like
know.
to
I've
think.
never met a Daven.
Yeah. Oh,
But maybe what we do is we tell Michael, like, listen, if you buy the VIP ticket, you get a 10-second
lions, tigers.
Like, yeah, with the
And
tigers,
bears.
you get the ping 10 seconds before they let the tigers
Right,
loose.
right.
Everybody
I like
would
that.
be buying the VIP ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
I'm
great
jumping
idea.
in the water.
Yeah.
That's the first place I'm going, dude.
That sounds like I don't think they swim.
They don't like water.
No, they don't like
They'll
water.
be anyway.
Yeah.
That's morbid.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And you went out there when? When did you first get out
So I've been in Puerto Rico this is my 8th year. So we moved to the island. It was either February of 2017 or 2018.
Okay.
I think it was 2018.
Right
'cause it
after
was
Maria.
5 months after Maria.
Wow,
Exactly.
man.
Yep. And Puerto
That's
Rico was
insane.
rebuilding then. Yeah. Well, I
You had
remember-
some fortitude, or at least foresight.
Well, actually, I didn't. So, or maybe I did. So I wanted to move to Puerto Rico the week before Maria. And I called my real estate agent. I said, can we come? He said, well, we have a storm coming our way. He said, if it passes us, you can come next week. Because another hurricane passed just a couple weeks before and went to the BVIs. Obviously, that hurricane hit Puerto Rico. And so I would call him every month. Can I come? No. Can I come? No. And on the third month, he said, okay, we have power. Come. And so we came to the island, and Puerto Rico was in disarray at the time. But it's just gotten better and better. So when we got there was no power in so many areas. There were no stoplights anywhere on the island. Walmart was in a tent. But, it just has gotten better and better since then, obviously.
I remember.
So, yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Do you travel?
I travel a lot. So I speak all over the world. I'm a New York Times bestselling author of 10 books. So I do that a lot.
Now, let me ask you a question. This is going to be a silly question.
Yeah. No questions or something.
In your home, do you happen to have a mural painted on the wall?
On one of our houses in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
My girlfriend painted it. She's an artist. How do you know about that?
Is it of fish?
It's not.
Okay.
So it must be a
because
different
I
mural.
honestly
This is
almost
flowers,
passed out because I
flowers.
interviewed. I'm a filmmaker under the moniker of NFT, the Movie Entertainment Company, and I was out there doing some filming. And I remember interviewing an individual.
A New York Times bestselling author?
And I was like, oh my gosh.
There's several of us.
So
there,
tell me
I'm sure.
about a couple of your books.
So most of my books are nonfiction.
Okay.
My first book was arguably my most successful book. I call it my Citizen Kane because I've been chasing it ever since. Second book hit the New York Times bestseller list, another business book. Most of them are business books. My first fiction book is in the stores right now, but I also I like to write what I'm passionate about, so I write an inspirational book series as well. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Who was your mentor, and how did you kind of get into that?
That's a really, really good question.
Yeah.
It was Mark Victor Hansen was one of my early advocates.
Wonderful,
You know Mark.
yes.
He and
Chicken
Jack
Soup for the
Canfield wrote
Soul.
Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Yeah. The highest grossing nonfiction book
Yeah.
series. Sorry, the highest selling nonfiction book series
Yeah.
in the history of the planet, next to one book. Do you know which book?
Bible.
The Bible.
Right.
Yeah,
I live in Utah, so
okay.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
they're a
yeah.
fan there of your partner there.
So they're awesome. I mean, he was an early advocate for me when I was first getting in the space. And I'll tell you the funny thing, I went to one of Mark's mega book events before I ever had an agent, before I ever had a book deal. And I remember doing that, and I learned so much, but I was like begging agents to meet me and look at my project. And I could not dial it in the early days. It was daunting. It was beyond me, but eventually figured it out.
So it's your ticket to speaking then.
Yeah, it absolutely opened so many doors for me. And people ask me, some people have asked me, what is the single biggest needle mover sort of in your business and career? And it was probably writing books and hitting the New York Times list.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What is it about? A part of the books when you write these books, is a big part of it completing it?
Not
Or
for
what
me.
really
I would
gets
say
to you?
that's a really good question too.
Yeah.
You've got great questions.
Oh, thank
Obviously,
you.
you're a filmmaker. So actually what drives what I write a book about, besides being passionate about sometimes, which, believe it or not, maybe 20% of the times the books have really been about passion play, like that inspirational book series I told you about. usually it's all about the back end. So what is it driving towards, right? So my very first book that was the most successful was a book that I wrote on outsourcing, because I'm very known for a company that I sold a few years ago called 123 Employee. We sold a company with 1,000 employees, and we built that. It was not a rapid growth company. We built it over the last decade and a half. But that book, in the early days, I remember I wrote the book. We were selling it for $18. And one day I woke up and I was like, why are we selling this book? Am I in the business of selling books?
You're
No.
asking the end in mind question.
Exactly. I'm in the business of selling outsourcing services. So we then started giving the book away. We gave it away in print form and audio, and we gave away hundreds of thousands of copies, and that generated tens of millions of dollars in the business. So every time I kind of look at, what do I want to achieve? What's the back end of the book? And then I create the book with the outcome in mind.
I understand this language.
Yep.
There is a specific language we're speaking, ladies and gentlemen, that you may not even be picking up on, but it's really interesting. It almost gives me chills because it's actually a formula.
It is.
And I do this, I've been a serial entrepreneur myself, and there's 5 phases of business, right? But there's a 6th one, and I know you're in that 6th level that is kind of invisible. So it's idea, development, startup, growth, and exit. But then you have your advisory position. You've been through everything, and now it's how do I give back to the world? So my question for you, we have a couple more minutes left, is you're a nice guy. Clearly, you're easy to get along with, and you have a great demeanor.
Thank you.
You go on stage, and people pay you for the value that you deliver.
Sure.
And because you're successful, there's a formula, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't get one-to-one value, because that's not how you become successful. They pay you $1,000, and you give them $10,000 worth of value.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
They pay you $10,000, you give them $100,000 in value. But humanitarian-wise, or just giving back-wise, what is it that kind of gets you up in the morning, bro?
Another fantastic
Thanks,
question.
bro.
So you're absolutely right. After that exit, now I'm more of an advisor to so many companies, and I'm on a lot of boards, and I enjoy doing that. And I'm more of an investor than I'm still an entrepreneur, but I'm much more of an investor today. So that's kind of the next step in the evolution. And then lastly is like legacy and philanthropy, right? And so I love that you asked that, because it dovetails into what I spoke on stage here about today too. So when I got to Puerto Rico, I love to build communities. Because of all the books I've written, I've got about 1.5 million people that follow me globally. But when I got to Puerto Rico, I wanted to give back there as well. And so I started a little group to bring us expats together with locals for food, conversation, networking. And fast forward several years later, we now have 3,000 people in the San Juan Social Club. So once a month.
That's what it's called?
The San Juan
Oh my
Social
gosh,
Club.
that's
Yep.
awesome.
And
so clever.
Yeah. And so once a month, I do a free event to bring everyone together. It's totally inclusive. I do it as a public service. But then once a year, we do a cruise on Virgin, the San Juan Social Club cruise. And so our first cruise was in 2024. We had 238 cruises. We had a blast. But our cruisers did 110 million in deals between each other.
Holy cow.
And I gave all the ticket sale profits to charity. This last year, charities on the island. This last year, we just wrapped up the 2nd annual San Juan Social Club cruise with 458 cruisers. And we just announced here on stage at the Tokenize event our coming together to create. We're now bringing on the Tokenize and the Bid Angels group onto the San Juan Social Club cruise. Michael spoke on this year's cruise, but now we're taking it to the whole next level.
Is DNA part of it?
DNA is not. I need to talk to Scott.
We need to have a
about
conversation,
that.
man.
Yeah, I need to
Come on, Scott Walker.
Yeah,
Let's have this conversation.
Brock is. So Brock has
Okay,
always
good.
been, he
Yeah.
spoke 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I need to talk to Scott
Dude,
about that
that's
too.
fabulous.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so glad
yeah.
you're giving back.
Yeah.
Dude, Puerto Rico's so important. It's
I
such
agree.
a special place.
I agree.
We're going to have
and
more
we need
time
to spread
to
the
break
word.
bread and talk about these things.
Yeah,
but
for
it's
sure.
such a pleasure to meet you, and I'm
Pleasure
so
was
glad
all
we got
mine.
to meet.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah,
Appreciate
all
it.
success.
Okay, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. That was fabulous.